That is the reason that normally, and after having found the miracle also, what happens is, अरे मैंने 200 में लिया था अभी 400 हो गया, देखा? Out. Like, you go for so many social conversations and wedding functions and birthday parties where you tell someone that Nestle is a great company. So half the people will tell you, अरे बढ़िया कंपनी है, मैंने बहुत पैसा बनाया. वो कभी तो 1200 में लिया रहेगा, 1800 में बेच दिया रहेगा. अभी भाव उसका 7000 है, उसका कोई हिसाब नहीं है. It's a fact. Now just imagine, lot of us work in companies or corporate setups, right? Just imagine having a manager, every year when performance appraisal happens, imagine having a manager who always fires the best performers and keeps all the bad performers in his team. So what people actually do is that every time they are making money, they sell the stock and book profit. And whenever they are losing money, they become long-term investors. This is also manifested in the data which I gave you. That in reality, every morning we open the TV and we say, FI ne kharida ki becha. You look for that. Everybody publishes it and prints it. The day FIs are selling, we think the world will come to an end. Abhi to bazaar ekdam gir jayega. Now I'll tell you a very basic statistic. In 1991, our market capitalization was 2 lakh crores. What I told you now is 100 lakh crores. In 1991, it was 2 lakh crores. Foreigners were not even allowed to invest. Okay? So in a market cap of 2 lakh crores, their holding was 0. Now in a market of 100 lakh crores, their holding is 25%. Who has sold? Who has sold actually? We have actually been selling. Actually, Indians have been selling continuously. And I told you a few minutes back कि सुबह से शाम तक हम CNBC देखते हैं, हमारा खाली 10 लाख करोड़ है. इसके मुकाबले Anup had put a chart about bond and equity. So for a minute, look at those numbers also. We all put together have 10 lakh crores in equity. How much do we have in bonds and deposits? Does anybody know? So the deposit base is 60 lakh crores. Then there are current accounts and savings accounts. Then there are PPF, postal deposits, small savings, so many things. So it's between 100 to 120 lakh crores. So, और वो सब के बारे में CNBC पे कुछ नहीं आता है. So we actually own 10 lakh crores. And Anup was also mentioning, I was standing there and I heard, he said that, somebody should allow these pension funds to invest. And every time they say that pension fund should put money into equity, then somebody wants to do a strike. You remember he said? All the people who do these strikes, they should actually be named as people who are selling our country. You know why? The reason is because, what are we saying? That this is laborers and service class people's money, don't play with it, don't put it into equity. That's what is the argument, right? What is happening if you don't put their money into equity, tell me? You are ensuring that they remain labor class and service class for the next hundreds of years. You know why? Because in this country, who owns the businesses in our country? Who owns? I was giving example of HDFC. Who owns HDFC? Tell me. It's owned completely by foreigners. If I tell you that Nifty holding is 55% promoters, so that's the elite of the country, leave that aside. 25% owned by foreigners, and it's only growing. So what are all the people doing? We all are doing either a white collar job or a blue collar job. और हम सबका मालिक कौन है? Shareholder. और ये country में shareholder कौन है? Foreigner. So what are we actually doing by saying that all these are laborers and service class people, they're middle class, ordinary people, don't put their money into equity? By ensuring that their money is not being put into equity, you're actually ensuring that they will always remain labor class. And the Malik, which was previously Indian, will actually be a foreigner in a few years. So what are we actually talking about? What are we achieving? It's just some propaganda. Somebody made a political agenda 50 years back, nobody has decided, nobody has even refreshed the page. It's almost like that. But we are digressing a little bit. But let me tell you something, that if you have more than 100 lakh crores lying in all kinds of deposits and bonds, and you have only 10 lakh crores in equities, you need to step back and think that why are we investing? What is the reason for investing? Can anybody tell me what is the reason for investing? He says the reason for investing is to multiply. Anybody else has any other? To beat inflation. Okay. To create wealth. So, आमतौर पे generally the common response which people give is to say that we need to beat inflation, because if you don't invest, the money will start losing value, right? Now, when you say inflation, let's first understand or clarify our understanding of what inflation is, okay? Whatever the Reserve Bank or Government of India tells us, based on which elections are fought or lost or whatever, that actually also is not even the real inflation which bothers us. So for us to understand what is inflation, let me ask you a few questions. Let us say for a moment that you have 8 lakh rupees, for some odd reason, let's say it is 8 lakh rupees, okay? You have 8 lakh rupees right now with you and you are about to go and buy a car. If you have 8 lakh rupees, which car can you buy? Honda City? महंगा है. Sorry, Honda Amaze. Okay. Okay, Honda Amaze. Now I come to you, just when you are about to make the decision, I come to you and say, look, I am in some desperate situation, something has gone wrong. I am stuck in some debt, I am your friend, I need 8 lakh rupees. Please give it to me. And you being a nice person, you actually lend 8 lakh rupees to me. Okay? Now, I go, I do my work, whatever it is, and I come back after 3 years and give you 8 lakh rupees back. Because I am an honest person, I come and give 8 lakh rupees back to you. Okay? Which car will you buy now? Sorry? So is that fair? So if you stick to the Honda family, it will be Brio. So the boot will go, basically you will, छोटा हो जाएगा. छोटा हो जाएगा. But so yeah, so you will be able to buy that car. So is it fair? No. So I say, no, I understand it's not fair. So I give you 8 lakhs with interest. Which car will you buy now? You get back to the same thing. So it is Honda Amaze. Is it fair? क्या हुआ? Lost 3 years. So 3 years में क्या होता है? Opportunity cost. What else? See, basically it's like this, that once in 3 years, the world kind of moves by and people get into bigger cars, right? I mean, I'm sure everybody who was driving 3 years back, maybe a Honda Accord or something, might be driving an A4 or whatever, I don't know. So basically 3 years have passed, so you wouldn't want to still be in a Honda Amaze. So you deserve that your standard of living should go up. Some progress in life should happen, at least a slightly bigger car or a technologically more superior car. So what happens is that if you have wasted 3 years, then Honda Brio is definitely out of the question. Honda Amaze is also not fair because it still keeps you where you were. You could have anyway bought it 3 years back. So ideally you should have got a Honda City at least. Is that good enough? Is that good enough? देखो ऐसा है कि Honda City वैसे तो it's good enough, but हमारे सपनों में तो CR-V है, ऐसा कुछ चल रहा है ना. It's a fact. We have aspirations. Okay? So you look at it this way, that if you are going to run by the government's published number on inflation, then very good, you can put all your money in deposits. It will maintain your standard of living. मतलब आप जिंदगी भर Honda Amaze में रहोगे, मतलब ऐसा problem नहीं होएगा. But अगर आपको आगे निकलना है, see, a lot of us go to the gym, you've seen a treadmill. So why do you lose weight on a treadmill? Why do people lose weight on a treadmill? Consumes more energy. In simple words, you have to run to be in the same place. Obviously, you have to run to be in the same place. And if you stop running, what will happen? Fall is not the right answer. You will be thrown back. Fall nahi, thrown off bhi nahi, you will be thrown back. You keep that in mind, you will be thrown back, not front or idhar udhar nahi. कहीं भी नहीं गिरने देगा, पक्का पीछे ही फेंकेगा. Right? You should try it if you haven't tried. Or at least drop something on a treadmill and see what happens. Okay? So, inflation is not what 5-6% and all that what is told to you. That is not the inflation. The inflation is something which has got to do with improving your lifestyle. It's not even maintaining your standard of living. I don't think anybody is happy with maintaining standard of living. We are not working hard and investing so that we can maintain standard of living. We are working hard and earning and investing so that we can have some real tarakki, have some progress in life, right? So when we move on to, so when you see all these numbers, what happens? Everybody knows all of this, but they don't really practice. And the awareness has come to such a level. Just have a look at this. This is just a picture I have taken of something I was searching on Google. So Google has this thing that the moment you start typing, they start, I don't know why they have to prompt, but they start prompting. But it's a good service because when they prompt, what it tells you that what are most people looking for, correct? Now you see this interesting thing. What did I type here? Value of ₹1. And see what it has prompted. How 10,000 became 500, how 10,000 became 400 crore, how 10,000 became... So, people are not searching for inflation, please. People are searching for wealth creation. I was searching for value of ₹1 in 1980. That is what I was looking for. And what it prompted me, so even Google is saying that all this inflation discussion is passé. It's of no use. People are really looking to actually create wealth. And there is a huge dichotomy because as a country, we are all seriously thinking of creating wealth, but we have 10 lakh crores in equity and some humongous amount of money in fixed deposits, and more than that in gold, and more than that in land. Okay? Now, as far as gold is concerned, understand one thing, that if we leave, let's say all of us decide to do an experiment, okay? So you put here a share certificate of one company, you put one slab of gold, and you put one fixed deposit receipt. Okay? All of us keep it here, take a picture and leave. And because it's an experiment, we come back after 10 years. What will you find in this room? Gold chori ho jayega. I was going to say that gold jaisa hai waisa hoga. He has made the worst case. Chalo chori ho gaya. It only makes my point. It doesn't matter. अच्छा ठीक है, गोल्ड चोरी हो गया. Okay, it's good to be realistic. Yeah, so actually चोरी हो जाएगा. What will happen to the FD receipt? अच्छा, okay, let me ask you something differently. If you were given the choice to steal the gold versus to steal the FD receipt, what would you steal? Gold. That also says something. Okay, but leave that aside. So if you leave, you come back after 10 years, sir ने बोल दिया gold तो मिलेगा नहीं. Fixed deposit receipt का क्या होगा? वो जितना है उतना principal वापस आ जाएगा, हर साल interest आ जाएगा, वो थोड़ा ऐसा इतना सा pile है थोड़ा बड़ा हो जाएगा. What will happen if that company, if it actually survives, what will happen to that company का share? What will happen? It will fill up, no? Like some कभी bonus आ जाएगा, फिर rights आ जाएगा, फिर dividend का 4-5 check मिलेगा. You understand that, right? So equity as an asset class has a tendency to procreate. So for 1 year it makes ₹1 profit, then the profit will grow by 10%, then the profit will grow by 15%. Now all of this has one basic rule of accounts, okay? So now I'm going to make a statement. When you start, it's not some high level thing. If you've learned first year junior college, first chapter of accounts, what it says is there is a concept of a going concern. That when you prepare the accounts of a company, you have to assume it's a going concern. You can't assume कि कल बंद हो जाने वाला, then you can't prepare anything, right? So if I make a statement that for a going concern, the equity holder or entrepreneur or shareholder or businessman will always make more than his lenders. Is that right or wrong? सोच लो सब. It should be, otherwise it won't remain a going concern. Okay. There are exceptions to the rule. If it's a business with a social cause, or if it is Air India. Lot of airlines, where some other business is subsidizing this business, and we don't know why he's running the business. So basically, barring few exceptions, which are like, I know, either run for a social cause, or you don't want to sack so many people because you will lose the election. So for those reasons, some businesses survive. But for a private sector, logical, rational businessman, a lot of you here are businessmen, you also know that you will not run the business if you are not making enough to keep something after paying the lenders. So, couple of years back, as reputed a company as L&T was raising money, they were issuing 10-year bonds and paying 11% interest rate, and a lot of people were subscribing to those bonds. So if I ask you a basic question that if you lend somebody 11% at a rate for 10 years, उस कंपनी के बारे में आपके मन में कितनी श्रद्धा होनी चाहिए? आपने क्या क्या सोच लिया उसके बारे में? What are the assumptions? They are good people, they will not run away with my money, they will survive for the next 10 years, every year they will pay me 11% interest, at the end of 10 years they will pay my principal back. ये सब होना चाहिए ना? तो आपको क्या लगता है कि वो आपको 11% देने के लिए चला रहा है? Of course not. To pay you 11%, other than that he has to gainfully deploy the money and pay employees and pay taxes and so many other things, right? So the fact is that nobody is running a business to pay you your interest. Now when you put all this hundreds of lakhs of crores, when you put all of it in the bank, what does the bank do? Okay. So you know that when banks state their profits, there is one number which everybody watches, which is called net interest margin. What it means is that कि अगर पैसा डिपॉजिट लिया ना आपसे, सो डिपॉजिट लिया तो कितने में लिया ऑन एन एवरेज, और जब लोन दिया तो कितने में दिया ऑन एन एवरेज, उसका डिफरेंस, दैट एवरेज रेट ऑफ लेंडिंग minus the average rate of taking deposits. So let us say you are in the audience, it's not me, it is some bank chairman who is standing here and giving presentation to you. He is talking about the results of his bank for the last 1 year. So when he opens his speech, he comes and tells you that last year has been fantastic for us because our net interest margin went up from 3.5%, it went up to 4%. So it has been a great year for us, our profits are going to go up. That is what he actually says. You are in the audience. If you are a shareholder of the bank, how will you feel? You will feel, see, all my questions are not trick questions. This you can answer. If you are a shareholder of the bank, how will you feel? You will feel happy. You will feel good. Now the trick comes. If you are a depositor of the bank, how will you feel? But in real life, what are you? What a dichotomy, right? So, see, it's not that everybody has to go out and buy all the shares of banks. That's not what I'm trying to say. The simple point is that, for a bank, you understand it very simply. The same logic applies. हम हिंदुस्तान यूनिलीवर का साबुन, शैम्पू, तेल, बिस्किट सब खरीद लेते हैं, but शेयर बेच देते हैं ना. It's a fact. See, in December 2013, their stock price was 480 rupees. They came and made a magnanimous announcement that please give us 600 rupees, we will get you rid of all your misery, give us 600 rupees, we will give you 600 rupees, give the shares back. So the point is that, who will give 600 rupees for something which is yesterday traded at 480? Who will give? No one, somebody gave. Somebody who knows that it is at least worth 601 rupees. Correct? Right? So what happened actually is that they made that announcement. Before they made the announcement, Indians were owning 17% of Hindustan Unilever. Okay? After that announcement was done and the shares were submitted, now last Indians were owning 13.5% of Hindustan Unilever. So what has happened? We are contributing 100% of their profits. Correct? Because sabun shampoo to humne kharida na. So so this is figurative. Don't say that I shop in Dubai, so I don't know what you're talking about. It's not literally. So I don't even use Hindustan Unilever. I don't know what he's talking. But most part of the country does. Okay? So the thing is that we are contributing 100% of the profits. But what are we participating in? Only 13%. So no wonder we are the darling of foreign investors, no? They'll just love us because we will consume whatever they sell. Right? Nowadays, see, we buy, iPhone. We buy the best of imported cars, right? We buy the best of imported clothing, perfumes, consumable items. We even love to bank with foreign banks. We consume whatever they want us to consume. And we are so cute, we don't even want to keep the profits. नहीं वो तुम्हारा problem है, वो तुम लेके जाओ. We are only concerned with, you give us good stuff to consume, we will pay all our bills on time. We are fantastic on credit, right? It's a fact. So when a bank, like, Anup gave an example of IndusInd Bank, it's obviously fantastic, right? So a lot of people must be banking with that bank or HDFC, ICICI, Axis, whichever of these. They're great banks. Who places the deposits? All of us. Now don't look here and there, it is you. So we place the deposits. Who makes the profits? Yeah, but bank meaning shareholders. So who are the shareholders? They are foreigners. Okay? So the point is that a businessman always makes more money than his lenders. The owner of the business will always make more, obviously, than his customers because they are paying some cost price, he's selling at a sales price. Everything, all this we understand, but we should implement it. And if you have 100 rupees of wealth, out of which 5 rupees has been advised by Gajendra, it is lying in some equity mutual fund, then you can think, हाँ मेरा 5 रुपया तो है equity में, ये आदमी कुछ भी बकवास कर रहा है, मैंने तो लगाया है. So then I can say दिल के खुश रखने को गाली भी एक ख्याल भी अच्छा है. But it doesn't mean anything. So you'll have 95 rupees in gold and land and all these things, and 5 rupees in some fund. It's not going to add up to anything. Okay? So we'll move now. The interesting part is this. In the financial world, everybody recognizes this man, no? One of the most remarkable things about the investing world is how correctly venerated Warren Buffett is and how completely people ignore his investing advice. And you know what Warren Buffett himself says? What we learn from history is that people don't learn from history. Okay? So everybody knows him. Everybody knows how he made money. But they will not do what he actually says. Okay, so I'm going to skip a lot of these charts and stuff. It's not very, very relevant for you. I have already explained this to you. That why does everybody forward the Wipro calculation, but nobody follows it? Okay? What is the purpose of financial planning and asset allocation? See, if you have nothing in equity or 5-10 rupees in equity and the rest in all over the place, then you definitely need to reconsider this. Okay? But let me tell you one other interesting thing. That when it comes to equity, there are two ways to look at it. You say that if I put all my money in the bank, I am going to get 9%. So let me put 10-15% into equity. तो इसमें 9% मिलेगा और 10-15% पोर्टफोलियो है, उसमें समझो 15% मिलेगा, तो मुझे ऑन एन एवरेज थोड़ा ज़्यादा मिलेगा. That is one way to look at it. Okay? The other way to look at it is that I buy something in equity, a good material portion, and forget about it. Because what happens is that when you are very fixated with your asset allocation, 80% debt, 20% equity, when you are fixated with that, you keep selling equity. Every time the equity makes a profit, you sell, put it into debt. Every time it falls, you buy more. Then it goes up again, you sell. It's a good thing to do. It is a scientific thing to do. But it will only ensure that every time the market goes up, you keep selling. Now, that will give you a higher average return, but that will not make you seriously wealthy. Okay? What are these rags to riches stories? That how can 10,000 rupees become 600 crores? Only if somebody has put it there and forgotten about it. If the moment 10,000 becomes 20,000, you will say, अभी 10,000 का profit हुआ, उतना निकाल दो, 10,000 रहने दो. तो वो कहीं नहीं पहुंचेगा. It will remain somewhere in the vicinity, some percentage gain. But if you're talking about serious wealth creation, then you need to be able to allocate money to equity and forget about it. Like for example, we manage some portfolios, okay? We started one portfolio in 2003. From 2003 till now, the compounded return is 29%. If you get 29%, it means that 1 crore becomes 20 crores. But now I'll tell you something interesting. It's not about what we manage. Some other people also would have achieved the same results or similar results. But you know, the striking fact is that if none of us existed and you just bought the Nifty, your 1 crore would have still become 9 crores. Actually. So just by buying normally known companies, Nifty everybody knows, right? So if you